and whatever I see is smiling at me. Love is who I am. Hello there, beloved Ascension pioneers, and welcome to this video update. If you've noticed, I actually said descension instead of ascension. Well, that's a first, and I think this, in a way, it was channeled because this topic is going to be again about divine reunion, one of my favorite topics. It's not even a topic, it's a path. It's a path of what I call moving the vertical enlightenment into the present embodied soul mastery through divine union. And this is a horizontal merge. I always call this spirit and matter, soul meets the body. So I've had some insights and I wanted to share them with you. So as I've shared with you, I will do some random topics during my nature runs, or just being out and about during this pivotal month of December, last month in the 9 culmination year in this big cycle we are completing, and a lot of you mastering. So in this video, in the sense of divine reunion, I want to talk about the importance of what was actually happening behind the scenes, so that we have a bigger understanding of this journey. If you are new to this, I have a whole divine reunion and twin soul video playlist on my channel. Just go to Ascension Pioneers, find the playlist. There's, first few videos are more beginner level. This is where we all began. We all started asking those questions, what this is about, all of that. And it progresses. The topic go deeper as I go more into that. And, we all experience some of the things on this journey that in the beginning stages, when perhaps we first became acquainted with what a lot of people call the twin flame journey, or the divine reunions, divine coupledom, divine counterparts coming together, whatever. We've had some of the things happening that we wouldn't even comprehend, and we wouldn't even be able to predict on the level of our beginner stages. So that's an interesting journey for all of you. And if you're finding yourselves in this completing cycle, asking yourself, what's this all about? Does it even make sense? You're still having questions. A lot of people are still saying they feel separation, or they feel a separation from a person they perceive to be their twin flame, whatever. It's not so much about that, because there's two things, that can exist on this journey. Either it's something playing out with an individual that is meant to trigger you, and it's meant to bring you to a deeper state of awareness, and that is not really what you would say your true divine counterpart. It's not an exact equal in your embodiment, which is your representation of your soul essence. Your embodiment, as you're mastering yourself, becomes a pure representation of it. It's not a mask anymore. It's not just approximately this and that. It can be approximately this and that, because a lot of times we can believe something to be even what we call a twin flame, but it's not. So that's one thing. The other thing it can play out is that it is that kind of counterpart connection, but you still have healing work to do within yourself, so things come together and apart, and together and apart, just like the DNA spiral, the double helix. But it's actually a multi-helix. It's not a double helix. Double helix actually in truth represents duality consciousness. So what we're doing now with this together apart, that's still within separation. I wouldn't say that's an exact unity, but it's a pathway. So through separation we move into unity. So this is what this path was all about. But it was beyond just that. It was so many things involved, and we couldn't comprehend this when we started this journey. So if you're new to that, I know a lot of people are still just waking up, and I met people who are like, what's a twin flame? What's a twin soul? What is this? They felt something, they felt a calling, but it was new to them. So if you're new to this, perhaps you are just developing your own understanding of this on these beginner stages, and that's okay, because we need a template. Although there's many master souls, very young ones right now, jumping in these bodies that won't need to go through these things. They won't need to go through beginner stage, developed understanding. Their understanding is already comprehended perfectly for what they need, so they're gonna go bypass this. We can bypass this if it's still a learning curve experience for us, but we can bypass it if we are already in that state of transcendence, which is a bearer of this new consciousness already. So that's what somehow came through right now as channeled message. So don't compare where you are in this journey. It is a one journey, and I've shared with you before that there's many beautiful grand experiments happening on this earth plane, And there's a particular group of beings who said, well, we don't want just 90% unification, we want the whole package, we want the whole deal. And we knew that what this was as a gift that will be given to the further development of what's going to be planted in the human consciousness. So this is one humane family, a new family of light. There is already a family of light established through what I call the Starseed community, the souls who are coming in very quickly, awakening, bringing their multidimensional perspectives and understanding very fastly through their bodies. But there's also a new human family that is starting to develop, which is our human cousins. I don't know how to call it elsewhere, brothers and sisters, we all are, who are just still grasping at this. They're still at those beginning stages of this journey. And what we're doing with this, we're setting a template, we're setting a foundation for what can be a new human relationship paradigm in an enlightened, what I say, vertical, meaning the horizontal perspective. So if you're a part of this collective, if you're a part of this group soul dynamics, you've had this journey of what I made a video about many months ago, perhaps even a year ago. What is the path of a divine lover? It's all on this playlist. So instead of you going through all of my videos, just go to the Divine Reunion Twin Soul playlist. They're all shared on my channel info. And then you go there directly and you can see and see what topic kind of calls to you. Sometimes people send me emails and they ask me about my courses and they say, well, where do I start? What do you recommend? And it's hard because I can't do that. I don't know where you are. You have to feel into your soul's development. But I already told you, and I've shared in one of my videos, so if that's new for you, these courses that I was developing were sequential. So they went from self-mastery courses to master first our empowerment and this physical body and the understanding that's coming through in our multi-layered consciousness. Then it opened up as we started to ascend further into our galactic perspective and consciousness. There was a galactic signature course, cosmic convergence, and from there on multidimensional ascension. And then it started to descend, which is bringing that into embodiment. And that's where I have the courses on cosmic beloved, which is you becoming this perfect whole unified self, your twin soul embodied. And then the last course was soul embodiment, which is for me this last pivotal threshold before completing this 9 universal cycle and moving into a new one. So in a way, our completion in this path does resonate also with numerology of the whole. And a lot of people say, well, it's just numbers. Well, in a way, it's not, because it's all a grand design of the prime creator self. Do you see? Nothing is just temporary. Even, what some great spiritual scientists are saying, time actually doesn't exist. And they're even saying it now. They're saying the perspective of us, the awareness that we have as humans creates time. But in truth, when you say, why can we travel back to the past, is because it doesn't exist. Everything is happening now in the same simultaneous moment. It's our awareness paradigm that creates this. So in a way, the group of us that's creating this journey, why are we feeling in a way already unified? And I've had a video on this, I think it was last winter. It's called Twin Soul versus Twin Flame, the difference of this journey. But it's just about the different perspective, the higher meeting the lower. So if the twin soul is you already merged and unified, it's your creation truth, is how you sprung forth in all life in creation, how you birth it as an essence self. That's a complete individual self. And before we can actually manage to create that individuum in the earthly plane existence, we call this, it's kind of a journey. And although it's not linear because time doesn't exist, but we created this in parallel so we could have an understanding how it is in a way when we have form and we have these beautiful bodies, how it is to come into that which we already are in truth. So that's the whole point of what I wanted to share in the video, these two perspectives, but they're coexisting. It's just how far along you are in your soul development on this path. And although we could say everyone is in this path from the greatest bigger picture, and that's true, when it's happening in the time that we're creating on a soul level and our soul evolutionary cycles, there also is a time and these time frames and time experiments. So that's what we're saying. There's a group of us who are doing this first. The brave, courageous, empowered souls, and I often call these the powerhouses, the lighthouses, who are saying, we're so brave, we're going to do that first. And it has to deal with a lot of strength, courage, and stamina, because you're going to have to go through so many pitfalls and perhaps even disappointments. And I know people say, well, love doesn't hurt. Love doesn't, but in a way, when you move deeper into love, you will also experience pain and hurt, because that's the disillusionment part of it. When you're going to see all these for example, these fantasies, even you have, for example, a fantasy about someone, and you're so convinced this is my twin flame, and you even obsess about it, that your whole life stream moves into the direction that's not really for you. And instead of developing your own inner twin soul before you can meet with the counterpart and merge in unison in the body wave form as well, then you're actually moving away from that union. So the disillusionment can hurt, but after you move through the threshold, no longer hurts, because the truth never hurts. So in a way, love for us also had to be painful and hurtful, because those of us who are in this group of becoming these divine lovers, we had to master the whole rainbow spectrum of the human experience. And I've repeated this so many times in my videos, but that was the whole message of what Spirit always wanted to show me. And as humans, you know, we still have this human part, this human inner child that is our love product. It's how I call it lately. Not a product, like I say, in an actual sense of the word, but a produce of our ascension. It's our love child. So that part of us sometimes still has questions and doubts and insecurities, and it's like, am I even on this path? You know, and you're looking at all the signs, but you have to look at the signs that are telling you the relationship experiences you went through, because sometimes the things we've gone through, we're kind of mastering that when we have understanding about it. And it's kind of like Chiron, you know, the planet who's not just a healing planet, a wounded healer, it's also, well, a planet. It's not really a planet, but it has in a way an influence on our planetary structure. So it also is about us growing in our evolutionary soul through that, sometimes through mastering the pain. What's the message of the pain? And when we master life through these experiences, we kind of have a gift to share with the whole. That's what the wounded healer means. Someone who has experienced and has this greater empathic capacities to then create a greater understanding through that compassionate being. So you will notice that you are in this path through the relationships and the understandings you went through because of that. Not, okay, I had decided this will happen for me and it didn't this month, so I'm obviously, you know, I'm in delusion. It's not about that. It's not this event you are expecting. And I know a lot of the people now are saying that this is a very pivotal time for the twin souls journey, and what some people call the external twin flame journey. I prefer still the word twin soul, because it keeps me in the centeredness of what already is, not what's, you know, it can confuse people as well. That's what I'm going to say, because there's so much information out there about this that's kind of misleading as well. It kind of created to keep you away from what is the purpose of this divine reunion journey, which is to become an integral sovereign self. I'm going to share about this today, but I want to say that we just know. And there was also inceptions of doubt on this path, but that's what also was a part of this whole rainbow spectrum of the human experience. So let's move on to that, what that truly is and what we've experienced. Because like I say, I've encountered so many messages and people talking about this now, that whenever I enter the world of YouTube, you know, the home page, it opens up, it's all like twin flame, I'm like, what is this? It's like, I didn't feel that before. For a while it was like a total withdrawal from that, from my part, and then it started coming back, and it's coming back in a different form. And I've heard quite a couple of times, you know, people saying they're receiving messages that this is now a very important time for these reunions and the twin flame journey. People who do oracles, people who do, I don't know, types of healing work, I don't know them, but I've encountered this message and it was repetitive. And whenever something is repetitive, I always tell you, pay attention, not to the exact details of it, but what's repeating and how you're receiving it then as you tune into through yourself, your source, not directly through what others, because they might be receiving it, but in their own way and form for them. But then you have to manage a way to find that dynamic alignment within you. So for me, that was a message that truly something is completing, something is culminating. And that's what this urgency, what they call it, was about. And the urgency is to get our act together, which means a lot of the times we do compulsive actions and things because we feel a depletion or devoid of something, a lack of something in our lives. And for the good reason, for the good part of us, you, we had this feeling of the other counterpart being away or gone, or we didn't have a true love experience. We've had inklings of it, or we had relationships, but they were all more triggering one or healing one, or, you know, something to bring about within us. And we felt, well, the true love or the true companion or the true counterpart is actually absent from this journey. I just recently I've encountered this channel message about this, and I was very intrigued because in a way, although I don't really do the channeling, but somehow it guided me to look at that. It was a beautiful writing, actually, and it reminded me of something that I received myself just recently, because why this was happening is that we would develop the masculine and feminine empowered essence within in an embodied sense, not just be enlightened vertically and say, well, I know and I'm attuned to the twin flame or the twin flame consciousness or the divine reunion, you know, this essence. But then we were actually, through the absence of the other or the counterpart, and a lot of us had this, we had to, as these pillars of this, because if the whatever part will be lacking in our physical presence, when we're aware and consciously aware of it, we will be guided to bring the essence of that more and more within to ourselves, if we're in a conscious journey. Otherwise, we're just going to be projecting and seeking outside of us. But those of you who are on this path consciously, that's what you were kind of guided to do, and you were becoming a master of that. So if a feminine experienced the lack of presence of the masculine, she needed to develop her inner masculine. And for a lot of the male counterparts, they felt that for the feminine, so they had to develop their own divine feminine within. And as these yin and yangs are perfect bubbles of love in their unified unison self, the individuums, then they can actually resonate with the magnetic resonance that will no longer be playing out like this, that, you know, together apart, because it will be solid. Only two true solids can actually be solid together. So because of this journey and because it was so intense, this had to be experienced. And I'm turning sides again, if you're noticing, because otherwise it's kind of like an ouchy experience for me. And for a lot of us, this didn't always make sense. And we felt somehow, perhaps you felt cheated. You felt cheated in this whole game. You felt, well, other people are having their companions, or other people are having this. Why am I not? Why am I not living this life? You know, I always ask myself, why did I not have the kind of life most people do? And I didn't date the way people do, or, you know, I wasn't even interested in that. I always had life chapters that were very strong in terms of inner development, because I had to. I was in a way they showed me. I was training for what I'm doing now, and was always in a constant training mode. So, but what we're going through now is this final understanding, and that's why this month, I'm telling you, is so important, because we're revising and we're reviewing, and Mercury will be retrograde, which is perfect. It's on the 19th. What all is still in a way perceived for us that we're lacking of that in our personal life. And these patterns that are still there because of these beliefs. So there's a core wound, becomes a core belief, becomes a pattern, a false pattern, becomes a mask, becomes a shadow self if it's not recognized. It's kind of how it goes. And then the whole stream back would be from these stories, like I say, to archetypes, to essences, and to the core self. So the same way we fragmented, we're now unifying back within. It's a one journey. It's not this and that. It's not unity versus separation. Duality is, because unity is all. Unity is all experiences, everything, even duality, and choosing it as an experience, because in truth it doesn't exist. It's just an experience of duality. So if it's just an experience, it's already a part of unity. It's engraved within it. It's not separate from it. It's not either you live in duality or in unity. It's just that within unity, which is all of it, it's all of life, all of creation, all of experiences, there's an experience of duality. It's just an experience. But the moment we open up, like a lotus flower, like masters have been teaching us, becomes a meditative conscious experience. And when they were saying, and when we are saying, become meditation, live your meditation, instead of life of pursuits, become a life of meditation, become a meditative being. They didn't mean just sit there and like this all day. Perhaps if that's what you're guided to do in a certain part of your soul's evolution, but it's not the whole essence of what they meant. In truth, what this means is bring your meditation to everything you do, so that our relating horizontal expansion experience becomes a conscious meditation as well, so that the true partnerships and these unions we'll be forming and forging will be based on meditative contemplating true divine love union. And because there's a lack of something, we're always going to see, but what am I perceiving this lack of? Perhaps it was something we had as an ancestral journey, or in our families, we had to heal that. And like I said, those of us who are in this group, we said we want the whole 111%. We want our righteous light being DNA back. And that's a journey. That doesn't happen overnight. And perhaps you're in this final threshold and you're still meeting people who are still at their first awakening stages, and they're perhaps still fragmented. And you're comparing yourself to them, but don't do that. You're still an individuum, although we're all one. And perhaps there's people who will be following this, but they're also showing us that we need to, because they need us to be who we are, and we need to be who we are because of a bigger picture at large playing out. So whatever we're lacking, and there's a perception of lack of, we're going to bring more and more into our life. I'm going to give you my own example. So my main pattern was, and I had to really go to the root of it, and I'm still going to the root of it. It's still a 12-month for me. I'm still kind of receiving a lot of these inner awarenesses and awakening, especially when I do these runs, and when I'm in nature, and when I have my silent moments. That's why I'm telling you, it's much more important now, if you're in this path, as a frontier, as a pioneer of this divine union, to spend awakened time within you, to spend this quiet contemplative time with yourself, rather than just like a holiday maze and being sucked up into this world of the matrix. Just become your own creatrix at this time. It will benefit you and benefit the whole much more. That's what you're here for. And I know it can be challenging, and people who are still not seeing it, they're kind of still withdrawing, and they're moving away from the shadow. They don't want to see it, they don't want to recognize it, but we have to. And this moon, this super moon in Gemini, it's in 22 degrees. It's so important for a partnership. For me, I'm a Sagittarius rising. This is my first house because it's my rising sign, and Sagittarius is right the opposition of Gemini. So for me, that happens in 7th house, which is the house of partnerships. And my true node is also in 20 degrees of Gemini, and 22 degrees of Gemini is where this happens. So you can tune into your own dynamics, and how this, and every, not just this moon, but every lunation, how it influences you, in which house and placing it falls, what points in your chart it activates. And that's why specifically I developed the Galactic Signature course. It's meant for all you star beings, star seeds, everyone actually, but for you most specifically, because you have specific celestial codes that when you learn to integrate them and understand them, and what's your purpose and what's behind all of that, there's a lot of material in this I share there as well, what you can further study along this journey. That's what this is here for, to empower us, because the more we know, the more understanding can be birthed. But it's not the kind of knowledge that's that artificial intelligence. It's celestial intelligence and understanding of universal mathematics, these divine light codes, sound, working with sound, the healing light, color, all of that. So that kind of thing, okay? So these alignments all align and resonate with a particular frequency, and then we're kind of drawing it forth. So take the course if you're really called. It's a very beautiful course. I think it's over 3 hours long. It's very good. People who've taken it really, they loved it. So, okay, moving on. This Gemini full moon is so important, and that's what I feel. They're creating so much of these artificial weather now, because the light is so strong, and we felt it here. We felt it here in the Alps very profoundly. It was the most intense light. It created such a strong detox in the body as well. The bodies need to be in a certain frequency to also receive the divine attunement through the divine beloved. So when this vertical can become the horizontal, when you can have the counterpart that you develop within you in the physical sense, without you falling out and becoming codependent, you don't know when this happens. You don't know when you're ready. Sometimes we think we are, but perhaps we still have some issues, these core issues that we're not addressing, and perhaps we still meet these, like I say, partial beloved experiences to activate us further. And a lot of times we will be a bit mellow, and we won't be able to get over them, and we won't be able to release these past loves, but we have to. But we release them through embracing them. That means the nature of what they were there. You will understand these words I'm saying if you're in this journey. It will be like, duh, this has been all my life like this. But perhaps there's some final tuning ins that are happening at this time. So that's why you're watching this video, or just somehow it came to you through another means and resources. It doesn't matter, but you're looking at it when it's divinely aligned for you and through you. So the same way I receive messages within and without, because I always tell you, don't think that's separate as well. If there is any information coming through the external streams, and I know I always tell you, don't fall for it. Don't always take the external. But I don't say don't listen to it. I just say don't fall for everything that's shared there. Still manage to synchronize through both the vertical channel and what you're receiving from the outside, because then it will be a resonating experience still flowing through you. Not like this, I feel it exactly how it is, word by word, sentence by sentence, that it's just the mind that understands. But the heart feels. And if you're really aligned with this, your heart will align with what I'm saying or other sources you're receiving, and something just rings true for you. It's not like that when you have still beliefs and expectations, this is how union should be like, and it's false. And then you will receive information that will somehow confirm that as well. And you'll be like, ooh, wishful thinking. It's exactly what I want to hear. Exactly. You want to hear something, you're going to get confirmed. That's how it works. But if you're willing to grow and expand beyond these false beliefs, that's the messages and that's the guidance you will start receiving, and it will change. And it will be more challenging, but it will challenge you to go beyond the codependency and, oh, I want this. It has to happen this way. Human stuff. I'm not saying it's bad. It's just not what the whole twin soul alignment and becoming this cosmic beloved, which I teach in my cosmic beloved course. Well, I share, I don't teach, but I share the wisdom that's passed on through my higher self, my galactic origin. So that's all meant to make us like this, and it will be more challenging. It's a more difficult path in that sense, that you will have to address every single thing, every single boo-boo, every single illusion, but it will be so worth it because you will be standing like this strong pillar. And recently someone shared about 21st of December, which is the winter solstice here in the north. It's actually, I call it June solstice. Sorry, yeah. It's not really June solstice, this is December solstice, but the June is, I related it to those people down in the south. They, for us it would be like summer, but yeah, for us it's winter here. So I want to say that it is very much falling into alignment. Things are coming into place, but we're still, I feel we're still connecting some of the dots. And when we had those past hurting experiences, and when things didn't always make sense, and our minds were going on and off, and it's okay. The mind rambles until it finds an integrated archetype. It wants to move beyond the stories. That's what you're continuously. If a person continues to come back, perhaps not physically, but perhaps they were a messenger of something, a bearer of something that you are still having inside of you as a hidden trait. And they're still coming to your thoughts. And it's not just because you say, okay, I think of someone because they're constantly thinking of me. Not necessarily. There's an energy dynamics there being at play. So there's this push and pull happening until we finally resolve all of it. Then, like I said, the bubble bursts, the energy unfolds, and as it dissolves, sorry, make up words sometimes, then it comes back to its source again. So it's like running free, running back to its source. That's how it will feel, and then it's complete. So don't obsess over people say, oh, I've been apart from this relationship for so many months, or this and that. Remember what's the core. Remember what you're here for and why this is happening. If that is so, focus on what can I do within this time in a natural sense, not through force logic. What can I tune into that I'm still integrating? And take my courses, for example, do the work. Because otherwise, we're just waiting for something to happen. And people say, wow, solstice happens, and I've read this channel message, this is a time for twin flames to reunite, and you're just waiting, magically fall out of the sky. This isn't what we've come for. If you're really a part of this group, you've done the work. You've been doing the work. You've always been doing the work, and it's intense, and you felt even isolated or alone at times. But this was to develop, like I say, for the feminines, we really needed to develop the strength through the feminine as well, and the masculine through what they already have is this, outwardly divine masculine is that strength and fortitude. They needed to develop a more psychic, more feminine, more introverted, more meditative, and more intuitive approach. So if we were becoming the high priest, they were becoming the high priestess, or a merge blending experience. That's how we see divine reunion, not a feminine being just a feminine, just like this, and masculine being just like this. No, that's the old concept. I see divine union as this androgyny that takes place within us. We still have this beautiful gender. We're still on earth. There's still a part of our experience, and that's the beauty of it. Because how I see this experiment was, how much light of unity can we contain while still having form and gender and still feel unity? Not moving through gender in separation. That's the part of the this project I know I belong to, is my group. My group always told me that in a way I am like the seeding project for this. How much light of unity can be in one human body without falling to the extremes of what sometimes physicality can present to us. And if you're resonating with this, you might be a part of this group as well. And we are moving to becoming divine lovers. So one last example that I wanted to share, and then I'm out, it's kind of getting chilly, is if you're lacking something in your life, and there's this belief, and I mentioned before, I had this pattern, like I always took care of others or other things. And I've said, for example, I said this idea, I will do this today. Oh, it's my passion, right? And I prolonged it until it was the end of the day and I was already tired. I'm like, oh, no, I can't do it. For example, my dancing, right? So that's why I made this last month, the month when I really want to develop my dancing. And I do some tantra yoga in between for getting warmed up, and for the stretching of my body, because, you know, and I love to do running as well. So I'm like, how can I do all of it instead of just depleting myself with one thing? And I do also a lot of other things, you know, with this sharing, and it's hours and hours of work. And like, how can you compile this in 1 week and remain balanced? It is a challenge. And just recently I had this coming up again. And of course, it's the moon. Awakenings are coming up. We're still seeing these old parts being represented to us, and these old ways of how we act and engage with ourselves. And then we perceive, for me, was I'm lacking this, what I'm most joyful about. And then sometimes you will feel that this longing is, oh, someone else will give it to me. Or if I were only in partnership, sometimes people say, or if I only had this romance with another, oh, if I could express this part of me, because I cannot express this part of me as a single, as this individual. This is where we were wrong, you see. We truly will be reunited with the counterparts in the physical as well. That's why I'm constantly being shown. When we become a complete essence of all, that if you lack of something, which means you're not lacking of it, you want it, you create it in this instant now moment, not prolonging. And we were all prolonging, and I did that as well. I said, well, I'm going to do that, but I just need to finish this first. And there was a lot of perfectionism playing out. I just need to do this first, and this work, and this video, and this, and answer to this person, answer to this email, and take care of this, take care of my mom, la la la. And then I was tired at the end of the day, because our physical bodies, of course, they still tend to get tired. We have this energetic capacity, and then we have to learn focus, because otherwise this capacity will be depleted if you're not balanced with it. And whenever I was lacking balance, I noticed it right away. And that's when we're not in this merged counterpart energy. And when we're not, our resonance in the physical body form will not be prone to the beloved union, which is the twin soul union that already is. Not the twin flame, which is a journey, right? Watch that video. Okay. So when you're in the union state, which already is, you are in this now moment, not somewhere in the future. You are embodying it because you're creating it in each moment. So you want to dance, you create it now. You create enough courage, capacity, whatever essence you're tuning into that most attunes you to the beloved. For me, that's dancing, singing, art, you know, all these things. Then that's what you bring forth. So for me, when I share this with you, that's not when I'm in my beloved essence. This is just me sharing, me doing this part of the purpose that is a part of the group collective. It's part of my mission. But my beloved essence is cultivated through these things I've shared with you, and the beloved Tantra yoga I do. So whenever I cultivate that and I engage in that, I'm instantly in that bliss of the wholeness, becoming strong, and I feel it. The resonance in my body is different. And that's the moment when you can feel, how can I best say it, describe it, is you feel you don't need anything in the world. You need nothing. That's when you're in the beloved essence. And the more we can contain it, not just be a momentarily fleeting experience, the more we can bring it to our day-to-day experience, on and on, the more it will become a constant. That's how we will learn to be masters of this beloved experience. That's when the counterpart energy can be, like I say, solid. Not on and off, on and off, on and off. So if you're desiring this, you're creating this, you have to become it yourself, become a solid. Because as you're alone, it's easy a lot of times. For me, it was easy when I was alone. I had so much time for me, and I knew my devotions. But someone came into my life, my pattern made me become almost sometimes their servant. What do they need? Their needs, tending to their needs first, you know, typical Virgo stuff. And I was just so into them that a lot of times I'm like, whoa, where am I in this picture? Well, guess who forgot about it? It was me. It was nothing about them. It was showing me where me still sometimes not fully solid when in another. See, that's what was a part of this. So that's why we felt this absence or a lack of the other counterpart, because we needed to become a complete conduit for that counterpart ourselves. So that's the whole mission, purpose, wisdom shared here today with you. My behind kind of hurts now of all these rocks. I'm actually sitting on these rocks. So I hope this made sense to you. Take the Beloved course, Cosmic Beloved or Soul Embodiment. These are all about this, very specific. And if you want to learn more, like I said, about your galactic signature, go to that as well. How to read your star map. It's all shared below. The links are always in my description box. If you want to get, like I said, a session with me till the end of this year, do it before the holiday season. Then I'm off for a while, just tuning into my own last cultivations and culminations before the year comes to a closure. And I love you all so very much. Also, there's this Crystalline Creation Levels Realms book. It's not a book, it's an audiobook, sorry. It's basically just a short book attunement to see what are the levels of our crystalline self that we are creating and tuning into. That's on my front page, my homepage, Serapina Light. You can get that as well, and many other goodies and stuff. So this week for me, like I said, I will be cultivating that. I will be more absent because I was strongly guided during this full moon. Use this moon, it's so important for divine union. Gemini is also a sign of twins. How perfect is that? So on a highest note, it resonates with this twin essence. And it's important. Engage playful, inner child, creative child, magical child, art, dance, music, whatever it is that will most cultivate that beloved essence within you. I had this video in the summer, beloved yoga, something like that, I don't know, and I've shared and I talked a lot about that before, this physical cultivation of the beloved. So watch that video as well. They're all in the beloved playlist. It's called Divine Reunion and Twin Soul. Don't miss out on that if you're into that. That's it for today. Oh, so much shared. Now back to nature, my own beloved cultivation. I will see you again soon when I can, and take care. Have a beautiful season of the cheerful self. Bye bye. So much love.